Okay. Okay.
Because we do have historical facts that actually did happen. We have historical records.
Yeah, the Jews, I come from a Jewish background. In the Talmud it says Jesus was put to death because he led Israel astray with his sorcery. So it's saying, yeah, he did miracles, we call it sorcery, and he was put to death for it. So they're attesting to the fact he lived. And so the Roman historian...
Josephus?
No,
oh,
he was,
Roman.
Tacitus.
That's it, Tacitus.
In 90 AD, he wrote about Jesus being put to death under Pontius Pilate and that government. So it's a historical fact that he was put to death and everything like that. And it's prophesied exactly when he would enter into Israel. It's really amazing. In the book of Daniel, in the 9th chapter, it says there's going to be a proclamation to rebuild the temple and the city. And from that proclamation, it charts out a series of weeks of years, of sevens. And if you multiply them out on the Jewish calendar, it's exactly the year 32 AD when Jesus rode into Jerusalem on a donkey. There have been mathematicians who put this together, and it works out.
Wow.
Even if it was off by a year. I mean, it's saying in that period of time the Messiah is going to come, and that prophecy was given 483 years, or actually 440 something years before it actually happened. And
Al, do you
483.
Do you think the government would want to fulfill that prophecy?
Oh, during that time, well, I don't know.
And how could
people were saying that there was a certain family in the Roman Empire, I guess the Piso family, that were enslaving the Jews, and they actually wrote some of the New Testament in order to keep them as slaves by making their God passive, meaning that turn the other cheek. Don't your oppressor is going to get theirs in the end. Not making them militant. That's something that I've heard before.
Well, yeah, and there's always been opposition to make the Bible wrong.
Okay.
But if you look at the way the Bible's written in the harmonies that go, it's like a hand in a glove between the Old Testament, the New Testament, between all the Gospels, between history books. It's a perfect fit, and there's no way man could create that. Right. So what the devil does is come in with so-called historical facts that try to disrepute it.
Right.
Now here's another interesting one. In the end times, according to the Bible, you've got to have Iran, Persia, allied with Libya, according to Ezekiel chapter 38, with Russia. And when the prophecy was given, Islam didn't exist. And the things that unite Iran with Libya in their hatred for Israel and those other countries around there is Islam, which didn't exist and wasn't going to exist for 1,000 years.
So it would be hard for me to comprehend a government creating a new religion and a new people, the Muslims, right, in order to fulfill that prophecy.
And it goes on and on, Al. It's impossible for humans to have conspired. And what reason would they have to do all that? And it goes through, you can't do it in your lifetime.
Right.
It's got to take thousands of years. So it's crazy, you know.
And on top of it, if you look at the totality of God's Word, there's thousands of prophecies in there. And for man to fulfill every one exactly would make man a wonderful person, huh?
Right.
Hey, Al, listen, thank you for calling. You might check out our website. Do you have any questions before I see we've got Mike back on the line?
Okay. Yeah, I just have one more question.
Sure.
I know that Jesus he wasn't a Christian. He was he believed he was a Jew, right? Or he
was God, wasn't he?
Yeah, no, I understand he was God, but he
yeah, he was a Jew. He was born. Go ahead.
Okay. Now the Jews they don't believe God was actually. I mean, Jesus Christ was actually the Son of God. Is that correct?
Well, all the original believers were Jewish, right?
Right.
Okay, and right, the majority do not believe, but God said in the end times more and more would come to believe, and I'm one of those. But go ahead.
Okay, so let me ask you, why don't they believe in Christ being the Son of God if Jesus was a Jew himself?
Most people don't want truth. Jesus says, straight is the way, narrow the path, few there be that find. It doesn't matter whether you're Jew or Catholic or whatever, most people want money, power, fame. They're seeking other things in their life, and to try and seek for truth in this one narrow way, Jesus, and give up women when you're single, when you're 19 or 20 or 25 or 30 or whatever, and God says you're only supposed to have relations with your wife, to give that up, and maybe you like to drink. Why would you want to give what? And people are going to call you dumb and foolish for, weird for becoming a Christian. I looked at Christians like that. I became a Christian when I was 29. And so everything's against it in the natural world. And Jesus said, straight is the way, narrow the path. So most people, whether they're Jewish or not Jewish, are not seeking with all their heart to see if there is truth and 100% fulfilled prophecy or something that could lead them to truth. Does that make sense, Al?
And interesting enough, Al, for 1,500 years before Jesus came, God, through his prophets, said that my people, Israel, would reject him.
Okay.
And lo and behold, guess what? It was true.
And it said that some would turn to him over, and that, of course, all of the original believers for the first 12 years or something like that were all Jews. Thousands of them were believers. The majority were not. Just like the majority of Catholics don't believe the true Jesus. The majority of any group doesn't follow the true Jesus.
And then God also spoke that he would save a remnant of Israel, of believers, and then he would graft in a Gentile nation. And here we are today, believing in this
Gentile and Jew,
believing in this Messiah that God spoke 2,500 years ago.
And millions like us out there, like yourself, right?
Right. No, I definitely do believe in Jesus Christ, but I also believe that other religions across the world have a lot of validity as well. I believe that God is, religion is something like a kaleidoscope. You know how the kaleidoscope works.
I do. But let me ask you something that goes to the heart of the matter. Jesus said that no man comes to the Father but by me. And in Acts it says that every knee shall bow and everyone confess that Jesus Christ is Lord. He says he's the only way to God, even though there's truth, some levels of truth, but they don't have all the truth, and they don't have the most important ingredient, that he died and took the punishment so that we don't have to. Would you agree that he's unique that way?
Yes, I believe that is unique, but I know that there are some principles that are consistent throughout every religion.
Sure, loving people, not stealing. Sure, that's in our conscience. We're all made by the same God, right?
But at the same time, Al, Jesus gave us a warning, and he said, broad is the road to destruction. Straight is the path, narrow is the way, few be it that find it. So in that broad road, what was he speaking of? All those religions that claim that, Allah and Buddha, and we can go on and on and on.
Right.
Is that what he was talking about, that road there? Broad is that road?
But those people who are born in those particular countries, are they just forsaken to eternity in hell because they don't believe in Jesus Christ?
Well, yeah, but God said no man will be without excuse. I was raised a Catholic.
Right.
Okay? At some point, God revealed himself to me, and I had to either seek it or reject it. Mm-hmm. So even though I was a Catholic and not living in, South America or whatever, but I was still a religious person. I was Catholic.
Right.
I had to separate myself from that and seek it out on my own. And
so you could be born again. Jesus said, unless you're born again, and that's a spiritual thing.
And so it's no different with the Muslims or the Hindus
or the Jews
or anyone.
Yeah.
God's going to, at some point, maybe like today with Mike, our friend Mike that called up.
He's holding on the line, by the way.
Is revealing himself through, this program. And we're not claiming any righteousness whatsoever other than who he is and what he's done for mankind.
Right. Okay, well, I appreciate you guys. You guys are very enlightening, and I enjoyed your discussion.
Thanks. Have you ever been on our website?
No.
Check it out.
Yeah, truthseekers.ws.
Yeah, we've got 30 of our former programs video stream. We've got some good links to some other sites.
And we cover all different types of topics, from the living cell to the cosmos.